Coming at you from Tokyo, Japan, my name is Dave, and I'm out here with some steel. 17 minutes of sandblasting. Do not give people the impression you know what you're doing. What have you made today, Dave? A whole bunch of scrap metal. In the manual, it says very clearly that you have to pre-tension the lead. I didn't film that. What that involved was bolting it to the driveway out there, connecting it to something that's more than 450 kilos, and then drag it to re-spool it. Okay, so that's that. That's been done. I didn't film it. I don't really know why. It was fantastic. It would have been wonderful to film, but I didn't. Anyway, that brings me to my next point. But how did you power it? I bought a BOSCH battery. Originally, I was going to use this battery, but it doesn't have enough power. The instructions say that you need at least 650 cca. You see? See that there? Well, a K-Truck battery's just not that. So it was never going to work. This is 950 cca, so it will handle it no problem at all. But what are we gonna do with it? It can't just go on the ground. I also don't want it to be single use, like all it's good for is running this winch, because that's kind of a waste. So I have an idea. You've missed a step or two here, but I got this box because it's a perfect length for the battery to fit in. And I've cut the handles off the side, see that? And then I'm just doing these areas here, so let's get that done. Just using a handsaw. Not a saw hand, that's something else. Alright, so why did you bother cutting the handles off? They didn't hurt anybody. Well, I'll show you. I found this little cart in Hardoff, which is like a second-hand goods shop, for 22 bucks. And I thought I'll mount my battery on there like that. Then I can put my battery charger underneath so it's together. We can clip this on here like this so that it's all good and easy to use. And if I need to, I can wheel it around to another car and make it more than single use. But the problem that I had was it doesn't fit in here. It's about 5 mil too big, and with the handles it was even bigger. So I'm gonna sand that down, and then we'll be able to fit in here like this. Ugh. Rotate. Ideally it'll sit in there like that, and I'll just be able to wheel it out that way, out of here, and use it on a different vehicle, because the winch is going to be bolted down here, so I won't be able to get it out this way. This little box was 10 bucks if you're wondering, and it did come with a lid. Yeah, this is not quick at all. It's just clogging up the file. What about this guy? I haven't found a use for that yet. Does that work? A razor blade would work pretty well here too, I think, or like something hot. We can melt through it. What about the concrete? Use the concrete to get it flat. Honestly, I think the concrete works the best. I really do. It really eats into it very, very well. For finishing this up, I really like this. I think this is 60 grit. It really gets into these small areas. It's quite easy to tidy up the corners. So, yeah, I find this to be quite good. Even though it's falling apart, that's fine. We'll use the other side for anything flat. I don't think you'd ever use this for something that needs to be flat anyway, would you? Traditionally. I mean, traditionally you wouldn't use the concrete as a sanding block either, but here we are. Now we need to take the seat off. That's 4 foul-up screws on the bottom. Might be able to reuse those. So the question is, do you just bolt it to the thing through the bottom, or do you build a metal plate and then put sides on it? All I know is that it has to be flush like that. So this side will have a bit more overhang than that side. Decided that the cutter is a good idea. I also figured out that sandpaper works much better than one of these. All right, so 60 grit sandpaper on the edge here really knocks it down quick. Much better than the concrete, much better than this thing here. I'm just taking down this one, this one, this one, and this one down to a point very carefully, and 2 hands on the tool to remove the material here. Keep your fingers away from this thing. I kind of want to take this down as well, but I don't want to accidentally take too much out of it, so I think I'll go with sandpaper. I could have been using this as a seat. Shouldn't have pulled it apart yet. I'll leave the camera on just in case the blade snaps and gets me in the eye or something. Go viral by losing an eye. Change the name to Garage Pirate. Arr. The eyes have it. Oh, it's bad. Don't try this at home. That considerably weakened it. I give it a bit of a wiggle. She goes through. You just don't want that blade out too far, because they've got a homing beacon on them, and when they snap, they head straight for your face. Okay, get it with some sandpaper. It doesn't have to be pretty. I guess it'd be nice if it was, but it doesn't have to be. And this metal plate is pretty much exactly the right width. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way to the edge so that this edge is on this edge, and then after the fact, weld half of this on like this. So line this up, mark this, and I'll just mark all the way across with a square, with a not so square, with a used to be square, a somewhat square. I don't think that's straight at all. Oh, actually, it's got a bit of a bow in it, I think. Let's actually do a visual test here. Give it a test tickle. That's pretty good, actually. I'm going to push that into my sleeve. Okay, that gives me this much. Right, now if I look at it from the other side. Oh, it's getting caught on my hoodie, and yeah, it's just not a fun time. Do that. Hold it. I mean, that's 1 mil off. See, one dilemma I have here now, I really want to bend this. Do I go on the side quest of building something that can bend that? Or do I just score it with the grinder and then bend it and then weld where I bent it? Certainly scoring it, bending it, and welding it will be faster than building the bender. However, if I take the time to build the bender now, then I always have the bender. So I don't know which way to go, really. I can't ask you your opinion either. I have wanted a bender for a long time. See, the thing is, I don't even know if the bender's going to work. My idea might work, but it might not as well, because this is pretty thick steel. I don't know if my welds will hold up to the sideways pressure to bend this thickness of steel. I don't know. Side quest or not side quest? That's the question. Just get it done. So the gods are kind of talking to me. Like, this piece is scrap, but I would say that's pretty well perfect for bending this as a base. And then we look at this over here, and I would say that's pretty well perfect as a base as well. So all I have to do is cut this off, and I've got the base of my bender. Then on here, I weld on 2 upside down pieces of angle iron, one here like this, and then one on the other side there, and I press into this, and that should give me a 90, or at least close to it. So weld along here, weld along there, pressing into here. The welds should hold it from moving like this. And I need to make that basically something that slips onto this that can hold that. I don't expect that this is strong enough, one, but if I do that with it and weld it, it'll be double thick, and then hopefully strong enough to bend this. It's a pretty big side project. Another thing to consider is that if I don't get this perfectly square in relation from this to this, if they're not perfectly aligned, then this is not going to work at all. Like even 1 or 2 degrees off, this is going to be a mess. I mean, if I do this first, I could actually weld this in place once it's down there so that I know it's in the correct location. I looked at this and thought about it a lot, then got online and looked at what a press brake actually looks like if you buy one, and decided that I should just buy one from China for 200 bucks. I know it's going to work. It works up to 6 mil thick, which is more than I'll ever use. So I just bought it. It arrives on Friday, so I'll see you then.